Good morning, it's time. It's the Jeffrey Lampkin Show. Listen, coming up on today's show, we have an exclusive interview with Apostle Larry Durant. What do you do as a pastor and you're leading a congregation and then accusations come out that you're having sexual misconduct with minors, and then you're charged in 2013 with sexual crimes with minors? You think that the storm is over, but in 2014, it arises again like never before in a mighty way, and you're charged with additional sex crime with minors. Everyone is judging you. Tabloids are talking, newspapers are talking, and media websites and various church affiliates. What do you do? How do you respond? Well, for the first time, an exclusive on the Jeffrey Lampkin Show. Apostle Larry Durant is here, and he's going to share his story, his words. It's happening this morning on the Jeffrey Lampkin Show. Your coffee cups are up, your pinkies are out. You're getting lamped. Good morning.
Here we go. The Jeffrey Lampkin. Everybody get up. Say what? Everybody get up. Come on. The Jeffrey Lampkin. Motivation, inspiration, educated new revelation. The Jeffrey Lampkin. Entertainment just for you. Smile and laugh 'cause God loves you. The Jeffrey Lampkin. Somebody turn the lamp on.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Jeffrey Lampkin Show. Listen, put your coffee cups down right now. As I told you in my intro, Apostle Larry Durant is in the house. What do you do when you are a pastor who is carrying the word of God and all of a sudden a real life storm and a real life crisis hits your path? And for the first time, in his words, an exclusive interview with Apostle Larry Durant. Good morning to you, my friend.
How
are you this morning?
Bless the Lord.
Well, you know what? I'm glad that you're blessed. I'm blessed. You know what? I try and tell people, it's so funny because in 2015, I'm telling people that, you know, a lot of times we'll be like, oh, the Lord blessed me, and we'll be blessing me because he gave me a check or he sent me this, that, or a new car or whatever. Right. But we just want to be blessed simply because I woke up this morning and I'm excited about it. Amen. So it's just good to hear you say that. Amen. Share with me real quick, pastor, apostle, over in Sumter, South Carolina. Yeah. How long have you been in the ministry?
I was in the ministry 28 years.
Okay.
28 years. Okay. I was saved at 33 years old after a tragic accident. Okay. And proceeded on to just study the Word of God and just seek God for His direction. And God led me to pastorship.
Now, are you originally from Sumter, South Carolina?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Yeah. Okay, and so then life transitioned for you, went through your tragic accident, and then you found, you just had an epiphany and realized that the Lord was calling you to greater. Yes. And so then, of course, you ended up in ministry, and you ended up in Sumter, South Carolina. How did you end up in Sumter?
Well, my grandfather was a pastor there, and, and I was back and forth from Philly to Sumter my entire life, and I was raised by my grandparents partially. Okay. And he was a minister, Methodist minister in the college.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so then you went on into ministry, and at some point you ended up becoming a pastor. Was this a church that you founded, or was this a church that called you and asked you to become their pastor? How did you end up in pastoralship?
It was a church I founded. We founded a church with 4 or 5 members and some kids. Wow. And we started from there and proceeded on.
And what was the name of that church?
Miracle Deliverance.
Miracle Deliverance. You know, I think I was sharing as a child, when I grew up in Manning, South Carolina, we found Sumter, South Carolina to be a place that, you know, Sumter was like your big city next to the little city. And so you would often see your broadcasts, you had a television broadcast with your services and everything that were on there. So you're at Miracle Deliverance Temple, you're doing the work of the Lord. The church begins, because you founded it with 4 or 5 kids.
Right, that's correct.
And then the church begins to expand, and it gets up to how many members?
At one time we were over close to 200.
Wow.
And we started on a storefront, in a storefront on North Main. Yeah, and 1 year later we moved into an actual church building that we rented for a year, and then later we just bought it. Wow. And built, and later, 6 years later, we bought another church on the other side of town. 1010 North Ginyard.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
What was it like pastoring for you? Like being a pastor, what were the early days of pastoring? What was that like for you?
A new adventure.
Okay.
And before I became a pastor, I was an assistant pastor at another church as well.
Okay.
So I thought I knew exactly what it would be to be a pastor.
Right. But it was a total different experience.
I found out it's a different ballgame.
Being a pastor is a total different experience.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And total different. And so you're being a pastor, you're helping the sheep, you're helping your flock, you're bringing them in, teaching them about Christ, letting them know who Christ is.
Correct.
And you're doing this, and you're at Miracle Deliverance. Now, somewhere along the way, in between Miracle Deliverance and then there was Word International, where did the transition, because you founded Miracle Deliverance.
Correct.
So where did the difference between Miracle Deliverance and Word International?
When we moved to the other side of town and got the other church, the Lord spoke to me and said, it's time to change the name.
Okay.
No more deliverance. We need to spread the word. We should have enough deliverance within us now to call someone else to get delivered.
Wow.
So we then, the Lord gave us the name Word International Ministry, where we wanted to go worldwide and to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ.
So when the attacks when the attacks and the accusations came forward, and I'll come to you in a minute about the accusation, but when the accusations, the attacks came forward, were you at Miracle Deliverance at the time, or were you at the Word International?
Everything was totally changed over the Word International Ministry. Both buildings, we still own both buildings.
Okay.
But they're Word International Ministry.
Okay, so they're just now Word International, but it's all still the same church. We're just two locations now.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. So when we talk about it, and I shared earlier about the accusations, so, you know, Apostle Durant is out there, you're doing the work of the Lord, you're carrying the ministry, you're working with the senior citizens, you're working with the children, you're working with everyone. Had there been at any point in your time in your religious journey that you had been talked about, heard any type of rumblings about pastors doing this, sleeping with this person, or anything of that nature? Had you ever experienced any of that?
Sure, I've heard it throughout ministry, and that's a part of the church world, and most people that are in the church world know that, but I never really paid that too much attention. My focus was not on that. My focus was on doing the work of God and causing lives to change.
So before the actual formal charges came about, you heard rumblings and rumors, but in your mind, that's part of church.
It's part of church. Yeah.
And you know, the funny thing, I can definitely understand, because when you're in the church world, you hear so many rumors, especially when it comes to the heads of the church. So let's start with the pastor. Either he's sleeping, and I tell people all the time that either they put the pastors and musicians especially, it's either one or two things, either pastors or musicians. They categorize us as either being someone who is just into women, and you're out there and you're doing activities that are of a sexual nature, or either you are a homosexual.
Right,
there's never just like the pastor can just be a great guy. There's never that. You're always categorized, you know, as one or the other. And then the funny thing is that even in some of our conversations that we share with among musicians and pastors, it's almost like you'll rather be categorized as the person who sleeps with multiple women than to be categorized as the homosexual, because the homosexual gets so beat down even more than the person who's categorized as with the women. So you've heard the rumblings, but this is church.
It's church.
So,
and with opportunity comes opposition.
Right.
And anytime you are elevated, people are always going to shoot at you. You're going to always be attacked, and that's just part of the game. You look for, when you're raised above, you're the one that's leading. The leader always is going to get attacked by the flock.
Right.
It happened to Moses. It happened to Jesus. So we expect it to happen to us.
Have you had people actually confront you before these charges came up? Had you had anyone stand in church, anyone come to you, call your wife or anyone and say, you're married, right?
Right, correct.
Okay, had anyone called your wife or said, you know, pastors doing this or doing, anyone ever tried to talk to you or confront you directly?
No.
So never. Okay, so you're home or out in the streets or wherever you are, and what happened? Did you receive a phone call saying you need to come to the police station? Did the police come to your house the first time? Because we had charges in 2013 and 2014. Were there any other charges before that time?
No,
okay.
never. When I received the news, I was at a church. We were getting ready to start in Bishopville, South Carolina.
Okay.
And the officer told me they were at my house. And I came.
So you were in Bishopville?
I was in Bishopville.
And you got the phone call?
Got the phone call, and I came home, and when I got there, I saw multiple police officers in my yard.
Wow.
And I came in, they said, leave everything on the outside, come inside the gate. And once I got in the gate, they proceeded to read a warrant to me and arrested me. Wow. And went down to the police station, and I spoke with the detective at the time. I said, I never was given an opportunity to even say my part. And the warrant stated, the reason for the warrant being approved by the judge was that the girls knew what my bedroom looked like and what my house looked like. Wow. And that's easy to explain because we were a close family. Okay. The families were close. We ate together on Thanksgiving. They played in a pool. And they said the girls were between the ages of 11 and 13. Right. These girls were 18, 20, 16, and 14 were the age at that time. And so when I got the news, I was devastated. You know, when I first heard it, I was floored. And then I looked at my wife, and she was standing there. And it was very painful to be going through that. But we made it through with God's help. With God's help.
And so that was in 2013. You're like, you know, this situation has happened. It has come about. We made it through. But in 2000, so you're thinking that, you know what, we're going to handle this. We're going to focus on it. We're going to deal with what is taking place. The opposition has come. However, I'm going to stand firm and answer to these charges because I feel and I know in my heart that I am innocent of these charges.
Correct.
That's what you said.
Correct.
And they arrest you in front of your wife.
Correct.
In front, and she's standing there heartbroken like, what is going on? Because in your mind, you're only doing things and you're trusting.
Right, correct.
And so 2014 comes forward. So you have these charges on the table, and they say that they've decided that they are going to continue the investigation, and they continue the investigation, and they arrested you on more charges of sexual crimes with minors. And some of the things, to go into the details of what they were saying that these young ladies said that they would go over to your house and you would pray for them. And in the midst of you praying for them, you would do sexual activities to them to say that this was taking the devil and these lust and desires out of them.
That's not correct. What was written in the arrest, they said I did this at church. Okay. They said this took place at church, where I'm always accompanied by someone, where there's always someone with me at all times. You know, I'm legally blind, a bilateral amputee. I have someone escorting me everywhere I go inside. And
I do want to share this morning to all of my viewers out there that he did actually, like this morning, Melody was here with you, and she actually, like, he has to be guided, even with him sitting down, like every part of this, like you see it, so we're able to witness this, so someone has to help you along the way.
Correct.
Now, one of the things that I found, so let me ask this question, because here's the thing, because people are going to ask, and I'm going to ask it. Did at any point in time you sexually, in any form or fashion, touch these young ladies in an inappropriate way?
No, I did not.
What do you think would give them, excuse me, the idea to believe that you did that?
Let me say this before I get into any detail.
Okay.
The world is full with manipulators. The world is filled with people that have anger and jealousy. And I think it's 1 Timothy 6:10 or 10:6 say, money is the root of all evil. And so saying that, that will give you some indication of where I'm going with this accusation. And remember now, these are family members. We have church with other women, young women in the church, good-looking young women, and none of these women said anything. Well, why is it that one family group says this against me, the family group that was close to me, that was in my house all the time?
In your house. Yeah. So this is all these young ladies who are bringing these accusations.
Family and one close friend of the family.
One close friend of the family.
And that happened in 2014. The young lady that came up in 2014, I think the police went to the schoolhouse and talked her into saying something that took place, and she's on record with several people who I have witnesses saying it didn't really happen. Wow. And also we have her screenshot saying when this first started, when they tried to contact her, she said, I have nothing to do with it. So all of a sudden now, I'm being arrested by something somebody's already admitted to that it didn't happen, and we have a screenshot saying that I have nothing to do with it, but no one never asked me any questions.
Did you ever pray for the girls?
Yes, I did.
Did you ever lay hands on the girls in a praying manner?
Yes, I have. And I also have on tape we found where we were in church, and because the Spirit of the Lord spoke to me, and I asked all the people in there if it's okay for me to pray for these young ladies, and have I touched anyone wrong since this ministry started, and everyone said no. So I don't see how.
But do you think that anyone would actually say that, like, in front, like, yeah, you did it to me,
right.
You know, because somebody, and I'm just being the mind of the people out there. Do you think that somebody would actually, you're in church and then, you know, like, have I ever touched anyone in public? And somebody's gonna be able to say, yeah, you know, like.
But I understand that. But they did it in public now.
Right.
I mean, what's the difference between in front of maybe 125 people? In front of hundreds of thousands of people, saying this man did something to him, and which I did not do anything to him. I think they were coerced. I knew they were coerced, and there were other things going on which I can't get into now with these certain people. I can't get into it now. It'll come up in court. If we have court, it'll come up in the court, and it will explain exactly why these things took place.
Do you think people come after you because they see the gated house and and the cars and the different things of that nature, the property and the assets? Do you think that they see the dollar? Because you said earlier that money is the root of all evil, and I often find the love of money. Do you think it is that their love and their desire for money overtakes them?
I'm going to let your audience answer that question.
Okay.
I'll let you answer that question, because I don't want to be the one saying that what it was, because
you know you didn't do it.
I know I didn't do it.
You didn't do it.
I didn't do it. And then, like I said, there's so many other aspects to this case that I can't even discuss right now.
But you keep going. That's my thing. That even after this, you keep going. What has this done? These accusations. What has it done to your marriage?
It made me and my wife get closer.
Okay.
And we talk all the time. We were already close, and I thank her for her supporting my children. I have 5 daughters.
Okay.
Beautiful daughters, and all these years, and I've helped raise other girls in my house.
Wow.
So all these years, there was never an accusation concerning me touching anyone, and all of a sudden, now these things happen. And also, they said it happened over a period of 2 years. Now, in 2 years, with the mother of one of the girls and the grandmother girl being my assistant, being right there with me the whole time.
They have privileged the information that people wouldn't normally have information.
Exactly. And someone should have recognized something in 2 years if this was taking place. Okay. And so I just find it amazing that the police officers arrested me on no evidence, just accusations.
Wow. Let me ask this question now. So you're at this point now, you are still pastoring. What has this done to your church? Have members left?
Yes, members have left, and members stayed after the actual first arrest.
Okay.
But
the second arrest?
No. The family members then proceeded to call members one by one and begin to put things in their head and threaten them with things in their lives that they were going to tell their husband or wife if they did not leave the church. So this caused a fall off. It wasn't the faithfulness of the people or the love of the people or the loyalty of the people. It was people threatening them with different things in their own families.
Are we still operating in two ministries now?
No, we are in one ministry. I'm renting the other one out.
Okay.
And we're making do at the 1010 North Ginyard location.
North Ginyard. How many members do you have now?
About 60.
60 faithful members who still come and support Pastor and what he's doing the work of the Lord. Correct. Which has allowed you to continue on, and you said, you know what, I'm not going to be defeated in the midst of adversity. I'm going to keep pressing, and you wrote a book.
Yes, sir.
And the book is entitled Victory Over Life Crisis. And of course, listening to what you've had to deal with, you feel like you have victory. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration for the book. The book came through a friend of mine encouraging me to write a book, and when this took place, I thought it was the perfect time to do it under pressure. And we do things under pressure, and God can speak to us clearer because we definitely have to seek Him for guidance. And we wrote the book based on some of the things that transpired in my life from my childhood all the way up until we began ministry. And the second part would be inclusive of what's going on now. But that part was dealing with my legs being cut off by a train, me being shot and stabbed and poisoned and going blind, and God giving me some
some vision back. But that's
what gives you the tenacity to keep going? Yeah, I mean, you know, people in your condition, they're just, let me just go sit down and rest a little while. Why don't you sit down, servant, sit down and rest a little while? Is what somebody would say.
Yeah, that would most people would say, but because God has brought me from so far and delivered me from so many things, I think I owe him a debt of gratitude, a debt of service toward him. And Jeffrey, lately, the last year or so, I've been dealing with liver problem and kidney problem, but God has totally healed me from both of them, and the doctors don't even understand that. So that's why I keep moving forward.
You trust God.
Because I serve a God that's able to do all things with faith.
Come on now, listen loud. Listen, Pastor, listen. I ain't got no offering plate this morning. Don't get me started this morning about the power of God and what he can do. Would you do anything differently now? You talk about victory over life crisis. Do you feel like we go through these situations because we're these things, you know, a lot of people are like the devil, but is it really the devil or is it God conditioning us for where we want to go?
It's God preparing us for our next level. And I believe that Romans 28, that all things work together for
8 and 28, yeah.
All things are working together for my good. That's my favorite scripture. And sometimes we have to live the scriptures that God give us.
Right.
And so now God is allowing me to live that very scripture again, that all things are working together for my good. So they are coming together. We don't see how they're coming together, but they're coming together.
They're coming.
It wasn't for this incident, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
So God is always doing something to propel you to your next place of victory.
Do you at this point now, would you change anything that you did before? When you go back and think about the charges are here and everything, would you go back? Would you stop letting people in your house?
Yes,
or would you,
yes,
you would?
Yes. I've totally rearranged. I have a camera in my office now.
Wow.
I have a camera in my office, and I don't allow anyone under the age of 18 to even come in by themselves alone. And so things have changed. So it's prepared me for the next level of ministry.
Right.
I'm totally confident that I will be vindicated from all these charges.
Wow. Well, you know what? I am just grateful that you found the bravery to come and share your story this morning. Of course, you know, with the victims and everything and the case, we ultimately did try to reach out to them to get their side of the story in this, but we're grateful that you came on this morning to share your story and be able to finally share what it is that you want to say. We know that certain things you could not talk about because the case is pending, but the fact that you came and you shared as much as you were possibly able to, we do thank you for that. Victory Over Life Crisis is available where?
All over.
All over, everywhere.
Lulu.com, Amazon, iBook, wherever you look for a book.
I love it. Wherever you look for a book, okay? Everywhere you look. Everywhere you are. We got it. I don't know, I'm in a singing mood this morning or something. Let me get it together. Listen, but the book is there, Victory Over Life Crisis. And share your service times real quick if anyone just wants to come and just visit. Because you know a lot of times people talk and people say stuff, but my thing is instead of, come see him. Let me get it together. I am singing too many songs. Where's your service times and location?
Our service, we start Sunday school at 10:30. Morning worship starts at 11:30.
Awesome.
At 10:10 North Gee. That's on Sunday morning. Friday night we have evangelistic ministries that start at 7:30 nightly. Tuesday night Bible study, biblical impartation starts at 7 o'clock p.m. every week.
I'm Watch Fox Chief Meteorologist Henry Rothenberg. When tropical weather approaches, don't get caught off guard. Get up-to-the-minute forecast with the Skywatch weather app. Everything you need to be prepared for the storm, from interactive radar, up-to-the-minute alerts, and detailed storm information. Just search Skywatch in the App Store or Google Play. Sponsored by the South Carolina DNR.
Sports with Derek Phillips tonight on Watch Fox News at 10.
Oh, well, what an amazing show. What an amazing show. And I really, truly want to thank Apostle Durant for taking the time to give me an exclusive interview in his words, in his own words. One of the things you learn about Jeffrey Lampkin is that I'm the type of person where I'm going to talk to any and everyone because I want to hear your story. I want to hear what you have to say. And at the end of the day, while I always may not agree with people and opinions and life, because, you know, it is what it is, no one always agrees. I'm married. And my love of my life, my wife, you know, we are a unit. However, we don't always agree. However, I always respect her opinion. And that's the place that you got to be, where you to a place in life where you learn to respect the opinion of others. Coffee talk this morning. So, of course, you know, Haven't had the opportunity to do it last week because we were, of course, dealing with the issues with South Carolina State University, and we're continuing to monitor that situation. I got some updated information that the total deficit is at $17 million, but they're making some noise. I do not believe that South Carolina State is going to be closed, but that is not my coffee talk for today. My coffee talk is to encourage you. So, of course, we're coming on the end of Black History Month. We're coming towards the end of it. Great celebrations that were held throughout all month, and I've been excited to be able to go all across the state carrying the banner of hope and keeping hope and dreams alive. And as I continue to look and I continue to monitor and I continue to talk to people, I continue to find that there is this epidemic where people all want to be something big, something huge, and everything that they do has to be on some big grand level. And then they use the term, oh, well, my God is big and my God is great. Well, you know what? Your God is big. And your God is great. However, one of the things that I found, he didn't create this world in the snap of 2 minutes, 1 day, it took day after day. They said he rested on the 7th day. Rome was not built overnight. And if we want to go and we want to make it into a Black history thing, let's talk about some of our ancestors. Let's talk about Rosa Parks as she got on the bus over and over and over again, spat on, talked about, and all sorts of things that happened to her. She kept persevering. Let's talk about Garrett A. Morgan, and he invented that traffic light. Now, I'm sure that he didn't just do it the first time and red, green, and yellow appeared. I'm sure that didn't happen. What about Dr. George Washington Carver and the peanuts? Come on, somebody. Listen, let's talk about it. And the great peanut. You know, I love, listen, I love my peanut butter now. Come on, somebody. You put it on some good hot toast, slap it between. Yes, ma'am. Put some honey on it, too. It makes it real good. But just think about these people who persevered. The late, great Dr. Martin Luther King, Walter Abernathy. I can go on and on. But my point is this. You're out there with a dream. You're out there with a vision. You want to accomplish. Start small and work your way up, especially for churches and different organizations and people of that nature. Start small, write the vision and make it plain. Stop going out there and trying to conquer the United States of America when you haven't even conquered South Carolina. One of the things that I've learned, and this is a Jeffreyism that I want to share with you, I'd rather be a small fish in a small pond of purpose than to be a huge whale in an obsolete ocean. I'd rather have purpose in whatever it is that I do. And I go back and I think, I didn't start out with the Jeffrey Lampkin Show. It didn't come out like that, folks. I started out just doing correspondence on Watch Fox Good Day Columbia. No one even knew my name, but I had to start somewhere. So why is it that you feel that when you start a program or when you start an organization, you need to start with 100 people? You need to start with 200 people. If there is something that you want to do and God directed it and told you to do it, how about you follow his instructions? You write that vision and you make it plain. You say that today is the day that I'm going to do what I need to do and be who I need to be, and I'm going to take the steps. And you start small, and as the buzz gets out there and people begin to know what it is that you're doing, you continue to build and brand and build and brand. That means you got to hit the pavement. You got to run what I literally call a grassroots campaign. It's almost like you're out there campaigning to make people aware. Stop doing these big events and you're not ready for them. You're not at that level yet. There's levels to this. I tell people that all the time. It's just like someone who gets saved. You know, the thing about salvation and this walk with Christ is that it's a journey, and there are levels to it. There are people who are in preschool, who are just starting out. They're babies. They can't handle a lot. But then there are people who are in high school, and I see them wrapping me up, so I almost got to go. I see them wrapping me. But listen, there are people that, you know, there are things that ultimately you want to do. You cannot start big. Start small. Build your way up. You can work your way by growing and elevating. So remember, as I always say, I'd rather be a whale. I'd rather be a fish in a small pond than a whale in an obsolete ocean. Your coffee cups are up. Your pinkies are out. You've been lamped. Good morning. It's church time. Come on. Let's have a little church. Good morning.
Somebody turn the lamp on.